What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. As always, I am so thankful for everybody who watches my videos, comes back every week, and especially everybody who leaves me comments, messages me with questions, or just to let me know how much you're loving jiu-jitsu so far. Today's video inspiration comes from someone who messaged me telling me that she's still feeling a little uncomfortable rolling with the bigger guys in the room, and if I have any tips on how to deal with that and how to get more comfortable with it. Recently, I think 2 or 3 videos ago, I had uploaded a video for the bigger guys on how to roll with women that are smaller. But today's video is for the ladies out there, especially if you're smaller and you're still feeling a little uncomfortable rolling with the bigger dudes in the room. These are my pieces of advice on how to handle and how to deal with that uncomfortable situation. So, piece of advice number 1, and this is a phrase that you've probably heard before and that you're going to keep hearing, I'm sure, throughout your jiu-jitsu journey. And that piece of advice is get uncomfortable being uncomfortable. And you're probably like, okay, Kim, I wanted advice, but I didn't want that kind of advice. I get it. It's kind of a cliche saying, but it's so true. Think about it. Most of jiu-jitsu is uncomfortable. From your first day walking into a room with 30 new people, from rolling and drilling with people in a very close proximity, especially if you don't really know the person, all the way to competition and performing in front of a big group of people. Jiu-jitsu is uncomfortable. And every day we're putting ourselves into these uncomfortable situations, one of them being rolling with bigger guys. You know, so every day we are putting ourselves out there, we're testing ourselves, we are overcoming internal obstacles, internal struggles, and I kind of just want this video to be a reassurance if you are struggling with being comfortable rolling with bigger guys that you will get there and you will be more comfortable with the situation one day. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but the more that you train, the more comfortable you will feel with being in that uncomfortable situation. Tip number 2, and I think this one is a little bit more practical, something that you can actually work towards every single day and know that you're working towards it. So tip number 2 is using certain techniques for different people. So in this situation, using certain techniques and not using other techniques when you're rolling with guys that are a lot bigger than you are. For example, honestly, and I like to do this on everyone, but especially on guys that are a lot bigger than me, the thing that I'm looking to do right away is get all the way underneath them. I want to get all the way underneath their base. I do not want them to be able to put all of their weight on me in any way, shape, or form. And the way that I'm going to prevent that is to get my body all the way under theirs. And one of my favorite ways to do that, I'm a big spider guard player, so I'll get into spider guard. If they start to stand or if they're standing already, I will use my spider guard grips to pull them over me as I come underneath them, and ideally get into X guard. I feel so safe in X guard because I am completely underneath their base. When someone is a lot bigger than me, being underneath them in X guard is assurance to me that I can potentially come up for a sweep. And then once I'm on top, I'm trying to stay there. I'm not trying to risk getting swept and then having them get in side control or mount and then getting flattened out like a pancake and not being able to move. If I'm playing open guard and I haven't quite gotten to maybe X guard or single leg X, I haven't been able to come underneath them yet and get to a place where I can start attacking from. What I always like to make sure of, especially with bigger people, is that I have either both feet in the hips or one foot in the hip with one foot in the bicep. Using my legs in their hips, with my legs being the strongest part of my body, I feel like I can keep them at a distance that I feel comfortable. So I can push them away if I feel like they're getting too close, or I can start to bring them in with the helps of my grips on their sleeves or the collar. But I feel like I have great control when my feet are in the hips. Now, for techniques that I don't do when I'm rolling with guys that are a lot bigger than I am, I try to stay away from the Kimura from close guard. That's one of my favorite moves to hit, but I just find that really big guys can easily just kind of muscle out of the position. And I understand that a Kimura is not just my arm doing the movement, it's my whole body against their arm, blah, 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 blah. But I still feel like for the most part, guys can muscle out of that move. And then that kind of leaves my shoulder in a compromised spot. So then I usually just let it go. I also don't love doing triangles on really big people because I feel like they can escape with the big guy escape, just kind of like shoving my legs off their head, and then they, you know, push my legs to the side and get into side control. That freaking sucks. And if the guy is a lot bigger than you, it's gonna probably be a little bit difficult to even get the triangle lock around their head in the first place. So it's definitely something that I don't really go for on people that are a lot bigger than I am. If we're a no-gi, I'm still trying to come as far underneath as possible and start going for a leg attack. And ideally also, whether gi or no-gi, if I can get around to the back, that is super ideal. And then you just stay hooked on tight like a backpack. Tip number 3 that I have learned from many failed attempts is if a guy who is a lot bigger than I am gets me into side control or mount, my tip for you is to not waste all of your energy trying to get out of there. So if I'm stuck underneath a guy that's really big, I don't waste my energy trying to bump, trying to do all this kind of hip escaping. What I do is wait for the right moment to make my move. I will wait for them to give a little bit of space to maybe mess up for a second, and then it's go time. Maybe that's when I start bumping. Or if they give me just an inch of space in side control, hi puppy, no, you can't come in. That's when I can start to slip that bottom knee through. Or if I'm framing and they let up a little bit and they give me that little inch of space, that's when I can start making my move. But if they're super, super tight and they're giving you a lot of heavy pressure, to me, it's not really worth it to waste all of my energy trying to get those 200 pounds off of me. Just wait for the right moment, it'll come. And then the next tip kind of comes from the tip that I just gave you, but if you're stuck underneath a guy that's a lot bigger than you, do your best to not get frustrated. I know it can be really difficult, especially if you're newer to jiu-jitsu. I've definitely had my internal freak out moments, and that's okay, but really try your best to not get too frustrated, to not get too worked up. The more you train, the more you will learn how to calm your mind, how to calm your body, and most importantly, learn how to control your breathing. That is so important. Learning how to control your breathing, taking a big deep breath in through your nose, through your belly, not through your chest, is so helpful when you're under a lot of heavy pressure in a roll. Learning how to remain calm in a situation that you feel so uncomfortable in is something that you will absolutely learn in jiu-jitsu, and it is so important for jiu-jitsu and for outside of jiu-jitsu off the mats. But in terms of this specific situation that we're talking about, take a deep breath, relax for a second, and figure out how you can move your body away from him versus trying to push him off of you. And my last tip for you today is try to find upper belts to roll with. Now look, I get it. Every person in the room has something positive that they can give to you in your learning of jiu-jitsu. Absolutely. But listen, I'm not gonna lie. Rolling with really big guys and their white belts, and maybe they're white belts with no stripes, so like they're like really freaking new, it can be a little scary, okay? Even for me sometimes now, it can still be a little scary because I have no idea what they're gonna try and do. And honestly, they have no idea what they're gonna try and do. So it can be a little scary in terms of honestly just getting injured. It takes rolling with everybody in the room to figure out who you really love rolling with, especially the guys that are bigger than you. So yes, you want to roll with everybody that's in the room, but if you're gonna roll with someone who is a lot bigger than you and you're still getting comfortable and used to that kind of situation, then look for a guy who's an upper belt, preferably a blue belt with a couple stripes and purple and up, because even though they are a lot bigger than you, they will understand how to control their weight. They will realize that you're newer and they will take that into consideration and not they're not gonna give you hell on the mats. They're gonna let you move, they're gonna let you play, and they're gonna let you work your jujitsu. Most importantly, without squishing you. So that is all I got for you today. I really hope that this video was helpful. Keep messaging me, keep leaving me comments, let me know what you guys want to hear. I love hearing about how your jujitsu is going. I love hearing that you just signed up for your first jujitsu class, and keep letting me know issues that you're running into. I would love to keep making videos in response to the problems that you're having on the mats. Like I always say, jujitsu is really freaking hard, but it's a little bit easier knowing that there is someone else out there that is going through it with you and that has already gone through these same situations. If you did find this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. And until the next video, I will see you guys next time.